From the 1st to the 30th of August, members of the Green Party of England and Wales will be voting to elect a new leadership team. One of the posts up for grabs is the deputy leadership of the party, and there are 9 candidates in the running. This interview is with one of those candidates, Ani Townsend. Before we get to it though, I have one thing to ask of you, which is that you scroll down right now and hit subscribe. I hope you enjoy the interview. So I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by one of the 9 candidates for the deputy leadership of the Green Party, Ani Townsend. Ani, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. It's not so hot, which is a bit of change from the last time I did the video where I was boiling to death in the heat wave. So it's good.
Yeah, definitely a better temperature today than it has been. So I'm going to kick you off with hopefully something nice and straightforward. Why do you think you're best placed to be the Green Party's next deputy leader?
Experience is an important thing. I've been a Green Party member for about 15 years. I've been a councillor on my third term, so I've got a proven experience and demonstration of winning elections and being involved in. I'm a Bristol Green Party councillor. I've been a member of the party since we were a tiny party to being the big party that we are now with an MP. So I've got experience of the Green Party in all of its different stages and sizes. I've been group leader of the council group. I've been the coordinator or chair of Bristol Green Party as well. So I've got experience of both of those things. I've been the electoral returning officer running this very long, arduous process of the annual ballot as well. And I understand how the party at a national level works. And I've got lots of experience of supporting other local parties and colleagues and councillors and members at all stages of the experience as well. So between all those things together, I think it puts me in a really good position to help drive the Green Party forward to where we need to be.
So I wanted to ask you a few things about some of the things that you've sort of put as sort of core messages within your campaign. So you said that you think the Green Party is crying out for courage, for real action in the face of the climate collapse and in deepening equality. What does that look like? What are you calling for there?
Well, it's at its core, it's making sure that we always put the climate emergency first, but also in conjunction with social justice and racial justice, because our politics are intersectional, and the future and the only way we can fight and tackle the climate emergency is through an intersectional approach. And we're clearly in the stage of very divisive politics, and some candidates are arguing that we should become more centrist, to be more just focused on the one topic of the climate emergency. That's not why we've gotten to where we are right now, and it's not where we should be at all. There is no climate justice without social and racial justice, and we have to keep our core values that have gotten us this far at the very heart of everything that we do. And we are the only ones that will do, and we have to be unapologetically vocal, continuously pushing at those messages, and that where it's not an either or, it's not a race to the bottom, it's not a slice of like a pie where there's only limited rights and potential for people within it. It's everybody should thrive together. And it's only the Green Party that has that message.
So another thing that you said in your campaign is that if you're elected, you're going to seek to push for more support for local parties. What is that support that you want the party to deliver for them?
I mean, capitations are the big one, and that's the kind of very uh, problematic issue that we've got in terms of support. So in order to get capitations or more support from the National Party, local parties need to demonstrate that they either have councillors or they could get councillors, but you can't do that without the money to do it. We need money for local parties to be able to print their leaflets, to have their calling cards, to help do the actual job of campaigning. And it's become a bit of a chicken and egg situation where without the councillors you can't get enough capitations because you don't have enough members, and without the capitations you can't grow your membership and you can't get councillors. Now, if we want to demonstrate equity across the country, we need more councillors and to support the largest parties in the north, who are widely under supporters at the moment, and we need to be equitable in our approach. So it's not just the wealthy areas of the south that have that support and large memberships. We need to grow the membership all across the country, because all of the country is at the the brunt of the climate emergency, and they all deserve to have green councillors.
So I want to ask you a few questions about electoral strategy and the electoral
Mhm.
prospects for the party going forward.
Mhm.
How many seats do you think the Greens can win at the next general election?
Ooh. Um, I mean, we came really strong second places in 40 seats, at least 40 seats across the country. Now, from my own experience, so I was in Bristol East, which is the highest second place vote share after the four that we won. And that was on the back of the messaging that we were doing across Bristol. It's on the back of the success at the local elections in Bristol the year, well, a couple of months previously. You know, we didn't do anything in the other Bristol constituencies. And yet, well, we did a free post and that was it. We didn't canvass, we didn't do anything that was general election related. And we came a really strong second, like terrifyingly close if you were those Labour MPs who were very upset and very stressed during the count. Now, we did that across the country without doing anything. So we can definitely get those 40 by just doing a little nudge. And that's a second place in a landscape where people were desperate to get the Tories out and weren't voting Green because they were so desperate to get the Tories out. So given that in mind, a little bit of a push, a bit of concerted effort, our increased profile, hopefully post this election. I think 100 isn't impossible by a long way, actually. I think we should be ambitious. And I have heard 200 being touted. And I don't think that's unreasonable either. When we get into certainly in terms of things to be aiming at, because you've got to think big. The climate emergency is getting worse and worse and worse. We started this talking about heat waves, and the Met Office sort of a couple of days ago were talking about how people have to get used to the heat waves that we've had the last couple of weeks being our new normal. People are increasingly aware of the climate emergency. They're certainly aware of the social emergency. And if we do a good messaging game and a good push of our message, I think definitely into triple figures is reasonable next general election.
So obviously that's a huge ambition and will be a massive step change, sort of unprecedented in electoral politics. Now, the Green Party's current approach to elections is what's commonly referred to as target to win. And when it comes to general elections, what that's looked like is essentially throwing the kitchen sink at a very small number of constituencies at the last election, four, and making sure the party can get over the line in those by throwing sort of all the resources, all the activists into those constituencies. Now, if you're talking about potentially targeting 100 seats, then that sort of approach and strategy can't sort of operate in the same way. So, how would you see the Green Party being able to scale up its electoral ambitions in that way?
I'm going to take Bristol as an example again. So we were 24, 25 councillors going into the local elections in 24 out of 70. We wanted to try to get the administration. We needed 35 to have half of that, 36 to have outright. We managed 34. Part of which was a lack of funding to do the outside of Bristol Central as a constituency. A little bit of an extra nudge here and there. There was a by-election on the same day as the general election. Had we put a bit of effort into that, arguably we would have had 35 because we came close second in that ward. Taking that same core idea of target to win and then leveling it up of going, okay, so where are our low-hanging fruits? How do we then escalate and grow the cities? We've got unitary authorities, the district councils. We've got, how do we grow the base that we already have there? And we've got 4 years, ideally, in theory, to do that before the general election. We've got an awful lot of local elections coming up. We'll have regional mayors also in the same kind of timeline as the general election, if it's a 5-year parliament. If we support our local parties to really skill up and level up what they're doing now, get more councillors, which is what we need to do as well, and then piggyback off the back of that to parliamentary constituencies. There are lots that are all together. So in Bristol, you've got 5 constituencies. Boundaries don't work in people's minds in terms of constituencies. So cluster them together, places in Bristol, places in in London, there's a lot in London, strong second places. They can all piggyback off of each other because people move around their cities and they see the messaging elsewhere. And they see that people can vote for what they want and get it in one place, they will continue doing that in the neighbouring areas as well. Um, there's lots of other places around the country that same concept will work, and that's how we grow the messaging. In Bristol, it can ricochet onto Bath, who are doing an amazing work, the Bath and North East Somerset Green Party at the moment, getting ready for a by-election that we'll have there soon. They're building their councillor base, they'll get more councillors there, and then springboard onto that, their by-election, and then spring from that, and being ready for every time there's a by-election, we're ready, and we do pour in, like as if it's one of the target falls, we pile into every by-election for constituencies and show that we can win, show that we can come second, and just hammer home the idea that a green vote is not a wasted vote. And under the five-party system that we now have, people know that they can actually vote for something other than the big two, and there's a decent chance of it winning. And so we need to demonstrate that again and again and again, and that's how we win.
And I guess you've talked a lot about sort of the sort of ground campaign and the the local elements of parliamentary campaigning. I wanted to ask you a little bit about what you think the sort of messaging and narrative and policy platform that the Greens need to frontline in order to deliver the sort of scale of electoral success you're talking about.
We've got policies for everything, obviously, and our policies do actually really connect with people. They are the policies of social justice and empathy and kindness. And we need to talk about our policies unapologetically, continuously, and publicly. And this is where the air campaign comes in. That's, Reform don't have people on the ground knocking on doors and canvassing on the whole. A couple of places, but on the whole, it's all air campaign. Now, we need to get better at our air campaign, especially now we're looking at 16 and 17-year-olds being able to vote in the next general election. That's my 13-year-old that I currently have. It's talking to younger voters now, the people who will be voters in the future, talking to them now, talking to a large, very disenfranchised, unengaged in terms of historically voting demographic of young people, and engaging them, and we engage them through social media, through YouTube, through TikTok and Instagram, and whatever other social media platforms appear in the next 4 years, because there will be more that will pop up, and as they kind of dwindle and die, it's being on top of all the different parts of social media interaction and really pushing our message and talking to the issues that concern young people and younger generations, and going, okay, yeah, there's this fear, there's that social scapegoating. What's the actual solution to that issue? What's the root cause of that? Because it's not the thing that the form of pointing you at. The actual root cause is this, and this is how we would tackle that.
And so you mentioned there that the UK is now operating in a five-party system. It's entirely possible by the next general election there will be a sixth significant party in the running. It looks like that there will be a new political party on the left. Unclear what form it will take, unclear necessarily who's going to be leading it or who's going to be a part of it. But Zara Sultana, Jeremy Corbyn, and others are key figures that are likely to be involved in some way or other. Now, the opinion polling we have seen on this indicates that the people who are most likely to potentially support such a party are those who are currently most likely to vote Green. How do you think the Green Party should be responding to the prospect of a new political party on the left?
I mean, the immediate response is obviously, join the Green Party because we're already here and we're already doing it and we're already established. Maybe there'll be a sixth party or a seventh party. There have been other parties that have been set up in the past and they haven't gone anywhere. We don't know what the values are. It doesn't even have a name yet. Until it has values and policies and a way of operating, it's hard to sort of say whether or not we should work exactly with them. We should always work collaboratively with other progressive parties because we do believe in proportional representation. And because we believe in proportional representation, the reason behind that is that because as as wonderful as it would be to have a parliament full of entirely dominated by Greens, actually that's no good for democracy either. We believe in power sharing and collaborative working. So whatever this party turns into, should it actually get itself over the line and become a political party, and it's a progressive party with left-wing values that has social justice, but also the climate emergency at its core, then yeah, collaborative working as we would do with other progressive parties, absolutely. In the meantime, until it actually happens, let's keep on doing what we're doing, keep being unapologetically green, keep talking about our values and our policies and what we're already doing. And those people who are attracted by the shiny new thing, we go, actually, can't keep pulling them back, keep talking to them and keep engaging them so that rather than them actually going, they'll actually be, by the time we get to the next general election, fully on side with us. And that's one of those ways, is that by making sure people vote for you, for the Green Party at a local level for every election that they have a chance to vote in, is activating them at every stage so that we don't have voters who just vote Green at local or district council, but not at general or just at general. We need people to vote for the Green Party at every single level of government.
So I'm going to move on now to the quickfire section of these interviews. And now I'm going to strongly encourage you, if you can, to give just a single word answer to all of these questions. Now, I will give you some space at the end to
Okay.
elaborate on any of them, but I'll hopefully maintain you to be quite disciplined. And these are all on areas that are points of contention, I guess, within the Green Party or in wider politics. So the first question I wanted to put to you is, should the UK remain a member of NATO?
But now, yes.
Is overpopulation a significant issue that needs tackling when addressing the climate emergency?
No.
Should HS2 be completed in full?
Yes, probably at this stage.
Does nuclear power have a role to play in a sustainable energy system?
No.
Should the UK rejoin the EU?
Yes.
Should people who publicly oppose the Green Party's position on trans rights be allowed to remain members of the Green Party?
Um, can I caveat that one?
If you if you could try and squeeze it into as few words as possible, and I'll give you more space at the end.
Okay. Uh, yes, if they keep their opinions respectful and not harmful to other members.
That's briefer
And
than
also state
most
party
people have
policy.
been. Yeah, that's briefer than most people have been. So well done. And then finally, is ecological sustainability possible under capitalism?
No.
So that's the 7 quickfire questions. Now's your chance to
Mhm.
elaborate on any of them that you wish to.
Yeah, I think firstly, when it comes to trans rights, you know, everyone is able to have their own opinions. It's what we do with our opinions and how we enforce or impact others with our actions related to our opinions and our beliefs. Green Party policy is always and has been clear, and it's trans inclusive. And as a trans person myself, that's something I'm very passionately will defend. In terms of HS2, that we also need to make sure we have a wider range of infrastructure across the north and to all areas of the country so that people don't feel like their only option is to fly across the country. We need to have proper rail infrastructure, and HS2, the state in which it is now, it's part of that solution, but it's not the whole solution. We need a much wider solution that also takes into careful consideration the ecological impact.
Fantastic. So I'm now going to move on to the slightly less serious questions, which everyone always tells me are the most difficult ones.
Mhm.
So the first of them is that the Green Party has had 5 deputy leaders in its history. Who's been the best?
Oh, I love Amelia, but then also I love Zach. So can I have both?
You can have both and talk to us about why you're picking both of them.
I think Amelia had just the most amazing, well, wonderful empathy, wonderfully principled person. And we know that she travelled across the country in a time before social media. She did, or social media as it is used these days, she did the most amazing work to get the Green Party to be what it is now. I don't think we'd be where we are if it wasn't for her support to local parties and her sort of relentless energy and enthusiasm for that. Equally, Zach, in his time as deputy, has done amazing things for raising the profile, his ability to use social media, and the way his wonderful speaker and his way of connecting with people when he's speaking on a local personal basis, or if he's doing a piece of media. It's quite unrivaled. And yeah, I do have some friends who aren't members of the Green Party, and Zach is the one that they know about. It's always like, oh, your Green Party guy was on LBC again. It's either that or the Australian one. The Australian one was on the on LBC again. Yeah, because they're the two people that stand out in people's minds for talking sense, and being able to speak really well on all subjects, and that's what we need to do going forward. So, yeah, I think those are the ones I value the most.
So I'm assuming in this election you'll be giving yourself your first preference. Who
Hmm.
are you thinking of giving your second preference to?
Oh, that is really hard, and I don't know. Um, I don't know because there are some really good candidates, and I know most of them one way or another. Um, Several of them are my friends, so it's really hard, and I genuinely don't know at this stage. But I do have to give Tom Dore though a mention because he was when I was National Electoral Returning Officer, he was my deputy and he was great. And he's in the next authority over to me down in North Somerset, and we quite often end up having to tag team each other on things. And we worked together on the West of England mayoral campaign. And I know he's always a hard worker, so I will give him my mention. I'm not saying because both him second because I don't know, but I know he is a hard worker, and Ash is great, and uh, so many people, very good, very hard.
That's absolutely fine. So alongside the deputy leadership election, obviously there's the election for the leadership position. Who would you like to win that contest?
Um, Zach is who I'm going to vote for. I think I'm not sure if we're allowed to say exactly who we're voting for in case we get accused of being endorsing, but yes, I will be voting for Zach. Um,
The candidates have said that they're voting for one of the leadership contenders and indicated which way they're going on their second preferences. So I guess the electoral returning officer could choose to suspend all the candidates, but that's their prerogative.
as amusing
What's
as
your
that would be.
yeah? What's your favourite Green Party policy?
Um, where's my favourite Green Party policy? Um, I have UBI actually, Universal Basic Income. Sorry, hold on. I inhaled water by joking, laughing about the FAB being suspended. Yeah, so I'm a member of the founding member of the Universal Basic Income Lab Bristol, which is an international network of people advocating for a universal basic income being brought forward. Now, as a councillor, it's a motion that I bring to full council on a regular basis. It's never been debated, by the way, because of the way in which Bristol's motions work. But universal basic income has been a Green Party policy almost since the beginning of the Green Party. And as a response to capitalism and to get away from a capitalist society where continuous growth and endless work, it's not sustainable. And also that's the original starting point for it, but also in a world increasingly where AI will take jobs and work in an increasingly sick population as well, aging population, we do need to think about other ways in which we fund people's lives to make sure that people actually are able to live. With the caveat that, with disabilities, there will need to be additional payments involved as well than just the universal basic income. But it is one of the ways that we should be moving towards in order to face the climate emergency and the dismantling of capitalism as well.
You know what question's coming next? What is your least favourite Green Party policy?
My least favourite party policy is about overpopulation, and the kind of population matters policy. It places the responsibility largely at the global majority and the global south for having larger families, and it's inherently racist. It's not intended to be. It's that kind of white savior colonialism, that is unfortunately inherent and not always in people's awareness, but it is at its core a racist policy. And also, the planet isn't overpopulated. The problem is that the Earth's resources have been hoarded by a tiny handful, a couple of hundred people, and not shared out with equity. If the world's resources were shared with equity, we wouldn't have a population problem at all. And that's something that we need to address in our policy, because it's not really a very equitable one to be continuing with.
And finally, who in the Green Party inspires you the most?
Hmm. Um, I love Natalie Bennett. She's my favourite. Yeah, I think Natalie, I find her very inspiring. But also on a local level, there are a huge amount of different kind of just quietly going at it activists in the party. People who they're there at every action day, or they're not able to go out and do the door knocking themselves, but they're there and they're making the food every single time. Like if you came to a Bristol action day for Carla, you'll have been fed by our food team. And that's a group of, I think there's about 10 people or so that, they all come and they help according to like their time. Like Claire, as our wellbeing officer, kind of herds that kind of crowd of cats into doing things, and it's always beautiful food, and people turn up from all sorts of activists, like turn up with plates of samosas and plates of flapjacks and all sorts of wonderful food. And those are the things that inspire people who are doing everything that they can, because it's a village, it's a team effort, and we get a lot of there are the people who are in the public eye, and the sort of the ones that we see and we hear of all the time, and that's a really hard job. And it's something that's needed, but nobody can do it without the team of people working all together. Yeah, but the majority of who aren't doing it for any glory or personal profile, they're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And those are the people who are really inspiring.
Lee, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. No biscuit question.
No biscuit question, no, not this year. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you did, let us know in the comments down below. Make sure you hit like and, of course, hit subscribe.